when that happens, y'all know.
Oh yeah, I gotta go a couple minutes early too. It's standardized testing day.
Ooh.
All right.
This is all weird.
Well, hello world.
We live?
We are live.
Whoa, whoa, whoa.
The world is watching,
Tell
Boston
me
C.
we're
What do you
live.
have to say to it?
We love you. We love you. We love you.
Living.
Listen, here, the first and foremost thing. I know we'll talk, you know, we're on the other side of what we're on the other side. All right. Somebody's team won. Somebody's team didn't win. The team that didn't win, it's all will be well. And the team that won, love somebody, hug somebody on the team that didn't win. All right, let's start there. Otherwise, whoa.
Right.
What? For the love of life, what happened here below the sun? Energetically, something shifted.
My coffee tastes better even. Lord.
Wow.
Somebody made a good cup of coffee this morning, folks.
Yeah, who's going to go first?
Well, we're going to continue the conversation about the election and the fallout.
Well,
Or
can
we
I
have-
throw a little Bible verse in here?
That would probably be good.
Wait a minute. Hold on before you do that. Oh,
What?
I just want to go on, you know, what Boston C, and y'all out there can follow Boston C on at Above the Sun Life on X. And we posted a couple of things. Elon was throwing some stuff out there. And so Boston C, Trump, the word Trump is in the Bible, believe it or not, 2 times. 1 Corinthians 1:1, 1 Thessalonians 1:1. Okay. Just the 1:1 is the one is a witness of the one. Anyhow.
There was only one.
Hang on. At the last trump,
In the 11th hour?
the dead mind shall be awakened, incorruptible, and we shall all be changed. 2 things can be true at the same time. This scripture is fulfilled. Let's read the other one, the other trump scripture in 1 Thessalonians 1:1. With the trump, for all the religious, for the trump of God, big love, Theos, Yahweh, Jesus, pick a name, big love. With the trump of big love, the awakened mind in the anointing shall stand up first. So for all companions that are out there that were resolute, that regardless of the outcome, energetically, we've all been in the fiery furnace. Big Love knows who are his. And he showed up like he does. That's all I can say. It's got nothing to do with red or blue. What's going on with all the division? We saw something happen, and humanity has shifted in a good way. And we need to bring all of the energy that's in us, all of the, if there was cellular memory of stress and anxiety and depression, right now, I'm going to challenge everybody that we just all sit and rest in peace. Go hug a lefty. All right. And just love Big Love and keep practicing loving big. And it's all going to work out. And be the electromagnetic, bioplasmatic, epigenetic juggernaut that we all are. Stand is in the administration of our Father's house. Big love, big brother. It's all good. Let's talk politics.
All right, Jeff, what you got?
Going back to what Eric said earlier about, and before we got on the call, about just feeling the feelings, the emotions, the palpable effects of what's going on, and however you respond to how the results played out. This was what was rolling in my head last night, and we just stayed up. It was the first time our boys stayed up to watch it, and we hadn't watched anything and weren't planning to. We haven't watched elections for years, and for some reason we ended up. I got up on, of all people, Alex Jones on X, and he had a live election stuff. It was basically they had their little, war room where they're going through all the numbers, but ended up watching with the boys, and because they were really interested, and we stayed up right to just before he gave his speech. We just couldn't make it. And but all night while I'm watching, I'm feeling the same thing, right? But right at the last few minutes, this is what was going through my head, was this passage from Proverbs 28. There's actually two Proverbs, 28 and Proverbs 29. Verse 28 says, or sorry, Proverbs 28:12 says, when the righteous triumph, there's great elation. But when the wicked rise to power, people go into hiding. And Proverbs 29 is kind of very similar to that, which says, when the righteous thrive, or some translations say are in authority, people rejoice. And so those were the thoughts in my head. It's very natural when the righteous grows in the land and increases. And actually the word for authority really is rebab, which is multiply. So, or be great. So when the righteous are great, when it increases in the land, the people rejoice. There's a positive energy that is palpable, and people know that the righteous are in dominance, in that sense, that the people have this spiritual feeling. They may not have the language for it, but they know in themselves. And there's a what do you call it? A quanta. If quantum is the individual, quanta is the community. There's a quanta energy field that goes out as big as a nation, that people can feel, because the righteous are in multiplicity, right? There's many, there's great. And that's the kind of thing that you feel, that I was feeling, was the fact that, on the back of my head, I'm thinking, but this is not our source. This into righteousness. But it is a stepping stone. It is a reflection of something. It isn't nothing. This is
Right.
significant.
Right.
There are waves in the spirit realm that have been impactful in the hearts and minds of people. And we can rejoice in that, and declare this to be a great thing for us to move forward. So that was the passage that was going through my head. The righteous are growing in the land. There's a multiplicity going on among the righteous, and little by little, it increases.
Yeah, it was interesting watching kind of just scrolling yesterday through different things, and how after the Trump gave his speech in his, their main room, worship just started breaking out, and they were singing worship songs, and just the
Yeah.
atmosphere and the presence was just there, and it was just really cool, And it wasn't about it their whole focus was how great is our God, you know. I mean, it was just all on the Father. It wasn't thank you for, I mean, it was very thankful and, you know, praise and all that, but it was Father focused. It was just like, you are the one that we worship. You're it. You know, we're not it. Trump's not even it, you know. And they were saying even when they were, you know, Trump won, it wasn't Trump, 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 Trump. You know, it was USA, USA, USA. So it wasn't even a man focused. It was, you know, our nation,
And
you
that's
know.
important.
Yeah, yeah. And others. I mean, it wasn't just our nation, but nations. You know, you know, what goes on in the United States. We have such a huge ripple effect in what's going on in the world. And I mean, you know, if you want to call it about world peace, his peace that surpasses all understanding guards our hearts and our minds. And I think that's yesterday went through just a lot. And even today, I'm reading some things like they're already like the Hamas and different. They've already like stepped back and go, you know, we're stopping what we were doing. I mean, there's big things, you know, going on. Even, you know, Trump still has, you know, he hasn't even stepped in, but the shift that happened yesterday was so huge that, you know, the seismic activity going on in the spirit realm and in that has definitely affected, you know, what's going on, what's, you know, the future. And so this is a real, you know, but it's not about, and this is the thing, and a lot of people say, but it's not about letting down the guard, you
Right.
know. You won the victory, but you know, there's still a war going on for a lot of stuff. And so, you know, we keep on keeping on, you know, and we can be at ease. This is what the Lord was showing me, you know, we've been at attention for so long. You know, and just like, you know, and the Lord was saying, all right, you can be at ease now. But you're still, even when you're at ease, you're still in a position to be able to watch and look and pay attention. And that's, you know, that's the position of rest, knowing knowing what's going on. But at the same time, you know, pay attention to what the Father's doing and, you know, go about his business. And I think that
Right.
that's be diligent as the wall is being built, so to speak, as far as, you know, I was just saying Nehemiah's wall. They built, people were watching, had each other's back, families were happening, we were doing stuff, but at the same time, the wall is still being built, you know, and the things that, and I'm just talking figuratively, the things that needs to be done or still need to happen. Um, but we're not doing it out of angst and anxiety and fear, you know. Love trumps, you know, anything. And so we do it out of love in the security of who we are as sons. And in the midst of the you know, the ones that are hurting, you know, I mean, there's a lot of people that are hurting because of the, you know, the results. And
Right.
I mean, just yesterday, you know, at school, I mean, there's teachers that, you know, they've had lifelong friends. And you know, they put something on there, you know, I don't know what it was, Trump won or whatever, and their friend came on there and, you know, basically said, you know, F you and took them off their friend list.
I almost decided
Those
not to
those
vote.
are real things, you know, that those are
Yep.
real.
Those are stories I'm hearing others, not seeing that
Yeah.
personally, but that's the
So
stories I'm
it's a
seeing others say that family and friends and how you can lose because you have a different look on things and you have a different view. And I even commented on one of my friends' posts, and I'm like, that's right, because that's freedom. Freedom is what it is. You have the right, and you're on your own journey to vote and do what you will. And we just love through it. And it's okay. Everyone has that right. It's called freedom. We just need to love. That's all. It goes back to love. And when you were talking about what we're doing whenever we're at ease, we're still creating.
Mhm.
We're always creating. So even though we're sitting in that place of ease, we're still looking, watching, we're still creating out of the heart of love, out of the heart of the Father, and loving on people and meeting them where they are and loving your neighbor. And I was really, I was surprised that Harris's biggest and most best speech came at the end yesterday. Whenever she was speaking, the words that she spoke were pretty much a lot to do with, she spoke about God. God can be anything. God can be anywhere. I don't know who her God is. I don't know her personally, but she spoke about God. She spoke about loving your neighbor, moving forward in love, being acceptance of what has happened, and just moving forward in it. And that she's going to work and do whatever she can do to have the best transition for Trump into the White House. So it was, I was like, she might would have got more votes if she just spoke like that more. Um, and done some things differently. It was really, I don't know, it was just a different side I have not saw. But it was another thing to see all of the young people so invested in this election. If they were too young to vote, they were still watching it. If they could vote, they were watching it. My kids who are in elementary school are coming home saying, well, kids are thinking this and we're thinking that. Some people say this, like they're talking about it. And I'm like, wow, like everyone seemed to be involved. And then when they talked about all of the people that voted, because everybody has a right to vote, and it doesn't matter. You're voting your heart, you're voting your conviction, no matter if it was red, blue, or who. But all of the people that actually got out and voted, and even in the rural areas where sometimes you don't have as much, like people were invested in this election. And it could be because of the last 4 years, how hard money has been for so many people. And with the
Yeah.
housing and the gas and the groceries and just trying to survive, and people have lost their homes and people can't they don't have insurance. Some people are just totally uninsured. All kinds of things are going on. And that's not totally for the election. That's a lot to do with the storms and stuff, especially around the Gulf Coast area. When you get hit by that many storms, your insurance, you just about can't even afford it. But just life in general with everything being so high. But I heard another person talking that has children in college, and they were saying that because of the ones that were Jewish, that they are saying, I have to vote for Trump. And they're younger, that young generation, but said, we are Jewish and he stands for Israel, and we have to stand for him because of that. So he got all of those votes. But a lot of people are hurting, and that makes my heart sad because I want to love on them, because this is not about a win. This is about God winning. This is about God choosing to give us a good king or a bad king, so to speak, to put someone in there because he knows the purpose in who he places when he places. And does it have some accountability to us? Yes, because probably to wake us up in some areas to see what corruption is. But in the end, whether it's good or bad, whether it's blue or red, we celebrate the Father and that this is a decision that He's made for us. And no matter what it is, we have to walk through it. And in walking through it, we need to walk through it with the Father's heart. And the Father's heart is love. Number one, love. Love all people, help people, meet people where they are. And we are the vessel He is gonna pour out through us, and out will flow rivers of living waters to speak life to those that are in need.
Yeah, that's good.
The other factor I think is important, is to continue to push into truth. Um, Truth was able to break through, I think, in many regards in this process. But there's so much more that needs to break out. I mean, we talk about people that are hurting. A lot of the hurt is based on frameworks of belief systems that they have onboarded based on what they've heard and seen and experienced. And some of that is a reality to them, but is it a reality that they need to stay in? Is there a falsehood that continues to prop up their pain? And today is even more important to continue to press into allowing truth to ring out, the truth in love to be spoken for those who are in pain, to understand the reality they're living in isn't necessarily one they have to stay in, that they can step into another framework, into another place of truth, where truth resides, and come out of that pain, right? I think that's, at least in my mind, everybody's got their little veins of what they desire and turn their intent toward, what they pray for. But that's one of mine with regard to the messages that are broadcasted across the nation, across the globe. The disinformation, the true disinformation, not the misdirection of one camp that's trying to obfuscate and to shade the reality by a narrative that is false to hide what is true. The true information, the true disinformation, the true malinformation that's going on that has caused consternation, frustration, despair, discouragement, hurt, dividing family members, dividing friends, dividing coworkers, dividing people. Those campaigns that have been intentional to keep us at odds so that what's been in darkness continues. That information, that campaign of darkness, of falsehood needs to be exposed, continue to be exposed. We're not done. We cracked open. I was watching, there was an interview with General Michael Flynn, former general. Of course, I don't think he ever lose that rank. But he was talking about, and he was using military vernacular, but basically saying we've captured the objective, but we have to push through it to the other side. And the idea is an objective is an area in a military sense where you arrive at the threshold, you've taken the foothold into the doorway, but you haven't fully done your job until you've pushed to the back side of it. So an infantry unit will come in and then continue to rush with the same energy they came into it all the way through it until they have completely overridden the whole area. And so he was saying, rejoice, celebrate, but, get some rest because we got to push through the objective all the way to the other end. We're not done. Another example is an analogy that I learned, or analogy of cross-country running, any kind of endurance running, especially with dealing with hills. There's this idea that you push hard up the hill, all the way top, but there's this crest, there's this point where the hill begins to soften, right, as you get towards the peak. And most runners, when they hit that first point of softening, they'll stop, they'll slow down. And I was trained as a cross-country runner. When you get that point, you push harder. You want to push over. You don't want to just get to the peak. You want to push up and over. So you're cresting downward, and you've got that full momentum to run down the backside. And so this idea of pushing in and revealing truth, we still need to continue to voice it. We still need to ring the bell of truth in our activities and behaviors and our speech, to continue to push through the objective of healing the hearts and the minds of a nation. And it's not enough to say we won, but now we continue in love to bring those that are still under a falsehood into a truth that will bring healing. So it's just a beginning, really, in my mind, to move into the new shift, right? We've got this new shift, as you were saying or at the beginning of the hour, Chris. What has happened below the sun? There's a shift, right? The shift has happened, but let's press into it. We're not going to stand on the threshold of this shift. We're going to move into the realm of what this shift has created and begin to bolster it and continue to um, propel the energy right through to the other side, wherever that might take us.
That's good. Sometimes we need to take a breather. I, I think we've been holding our breath for a long time, so to speak. And we know in the physical that that's not a healthy thing. When you take shallow breaths, it's actually not good for your body. You need to actually, take deep breaths through your nose and just come from a place of a resting place. I ran cross country as well, and that was one of the things that we had Bald Hill. And Bald Hill was a hill that just kept on going. And that's where the victories won in the hills. If you can maintain that once you get to the top and not, let go, but when you get to that top and there's that nice straightaway, there is a reprieve. That's where you can kind of catch your breath a little bit because you've trained, you know how to breathe and work through it and then hustle, through it. Um, so yeah, I mean, we've been talking for a long time about dealing with our junk and whatnot, and I think that's, this is the point, pressing through, dealing with our own stuff. Our nation's going to be dealing with their junk as well. That's the same thing. We're going through a healing process, and I was watching something right before we got on, and I don't know on Instagram, and it was Kennedy just sharing his journey and how he had an encounter. He had a spiritual encounter, and which he says we can try to do it on our own strength, and and that's what he said. He was addicted to drugs and all that, alcohol and all that stuff. He said it took him about 10 years. He said I was trying and I was trying and I was trying, and he was purposely working on, and just the addiction was there, and then he just had a spiritual awakening. He said, I had a spiritual awakening, and when that happened, the drugs and alcohol, all that stuff that he was dealing with went away. Said it was just like, it was miraculous. And as a nation, that's what we need. But I loved what he said. He goes, I put down the oars and I put up the sails and just let the wind blow in those sails. And I went where that went. And I quit doing it on my own strength. I'm just rowing and rowing and rowing. But I just let everything go and let the current, went with the flow of the Father's breath just blowing, and so, sometimes, and he said, and he goes, so we get these victories and we get these, and things start to happen and positive things happen. And he was going, I mean, obviously he's got the Kennedy name. So, he basically, that's a pass pretty much anywhere. You can get him in anywhere. And so he go, you start relying on that. You start relying on that, and that becomes your strength. In reality, that's, he said, for us, we need to stay, humility is such a key. Being humble, being humility in the strength that we have. It doesn't say that we get rid of the strength and we get rid of, but we walk in it in humility. We walk in it in courage. We walk in it helping others. Our whole point is encourage others, strengthen others in this whole process. Set the captives free. That's what we're supposed to be doing. And so, not, I mean, some of us are called to lead the charge, and that's sometimes that's, getting out front, being the point person, being the strength, but knowing when to let others come beside you and pass you even, and you be the encourager as they're, pressing through. And right now, that's what we need, as sons. That's what our nation needs, is to, even the ones that, lost. I mean, they need encouragement. They need, I mean, who knows what's going on behind the scenes over there, but,
And there's a lot of
it's
people.
hard to not go into the negative space, because we have this flux period right now of a couple months before everything, happens, before the, Trump, his team transitions fully into, January 20th. It's a lot that, a lot of unknowns still. And so that's where we need to be, just continuing what we were doing, continuing keeping ourselves above the sun, keeping in that space, staying in that place of love, you know,
Kind
listening, watching, and just being
kind of
aware.
kind of feels like when Big Love parted the waves and the
Mhm.
Israelites walked through on dry ground. I feel like
Yeah.
we've walked through something. So and then it's interesting how that nation, like the human heart, falls back. It gets lazy. It gets back into its own former state. And I just think that we are so in such a new place.
Well, we learned from last time.
Yeah,
That's the key.
yeah, yeah,
You know, wisdom has been precedent this
yeah.
time around. And I think that was so key to what we're walking in now, what we saw. Yeah. Yeah.
So good, so good, so
Eric, you
good.
got something?
Pardon?
You got something?
Oh, I got a lot. I just don't know. I'm trying to decide if I want to take this thing in certain areas, and I don't want to bring negativity or ruin the flow. I mean, everybody's happy. So,
Yeah.
not that I'm thinking negative. I'm just like, especially coming off the heels of a conversation about messiahs and anti-messiahs. My messiah didn't win. My messiah already ran, or already won,
Yeah.
and and but there is a significant portion of the people, at least if I'm reading the statistics correctly, their messiah didn't win, and they really believe it. So there was a huge voter turnout this year, but the most significant thing from the elections over the last few elections is how close the races are.
This
That
was actually a landslide, by the way. Even though it was close, it was actually, if you look at the numbers, it was a landslide
How
in
do we define a landslide now, though?
all aspects of it.
Because like in the Reagan Mondale election, it was a sweep. Like Mondale only had his home state choose him. Every other state was red.
Yeah, that is.
To me, like that's a landslide.
But this was
That's
the numbers. Actually, what they were saying is 2016. We thought Trump just this this over. This was a wave even stronger than what happened in 2016. It may
correct.
not have been, but the way the statistics and everything, the dynamic, there was more younger voters this time around.
Yep.
There's a lot more the younger, actually, you would think that they would have been a higher percentage for blue. And in reality, it was just like it was a major turnaround.
Yes.
And I guess that's the key. People were,
There's people that voted that didn't normally vote, like the whole
yeah, and
Amish
the
community.
youngers, they
Correct.
just either they
Which is like
wanted a
you know.
change or they wanted their voice to be heard.
Yeah, I mean, there's both
Yeah,
of that. I mean,
It was
I think
definitely
part of the
there.
thing is they calculate in all the corruption that's involved, right? If it was a completely clean, I'm thinking where this idea of landslide is coming from. Because it does, I mean, it's like he got what, 50%?
Yeah.
and she got 48%, with margin of error stuff. But what they're calculating, I think, is all of the potential unverified voter fraud,
Right.
you're right, all that went on, the theft here and there, that
Yeah, like
percentage
burning ballots.
was a certain amount, but you look at the number of people that came out to vote, and the increase of different ethnicity groups that were increasing
That
on
was key. Yeah.
Trump's side,
Yep.
Yeah.
that if we removed the corruption that was happening on that night, you would actually see this massive increase in actual percentage where it really was a landslide. But the landslide was publicly dampened because of the voter corruption, right? That's the idea. I think that most people that talk about a landslide, that's why they would call it that, because the true vote minus the corruption would reveal something much larger, more significant, more impactful.
Yeah, the danger of looking at statistics, even now, because
Yeah.
I think some states are still
That's
counting.
true. Yeah.
But
The full vote
you
it's,
think about
it's
that.
encouraging that we would
You
assume.
look at the states. We spent time looking at all the different states,
Yep.
especially the blue ones, even at red and blue, all the big number ones, right?
Yep.
And you go into the counties and you see like all the rural is red and all the counties are all blue.
Yep.
And it's like, what's going on here? Well, we know what's going on here. One is in the natural, more people live in the city than in the rural areas, thus it's called rural. But that's the center locations where potential fraud is going to exist. You're not going to have potential fraud out in a small county anywhere because it's just the numbers are so insignificant. It's not worth their effort.
Correct.
So main centers, even red states, main centers, you look at Houston, Austin, Dallas, all blue. Then the rest of the states, is red,
Yep.
and it's like that in big parts of California, in big parts of New York, the big states, big numbers, that's what exists. Those things happen. So it's interesting that those are the things that played out because
And
you
that's
can
where they
tell
pulled
kind of the
in
focus.
all the extra.
Right. That's where you see that stuff happen.
Factors.
Right. Yeah.
Right. They've been stacking the deck with illegal immigration, at least according to the stories. So both sides accuse the other side of voter fraud, right?
Well, yeah, obfuscation, both. I mean,
both sides did,
confuse
right?
and misdirect and
So,
shade and everything to try and make
my
it happen on both
perspective
sides.
is, as the Democratic side seemed to be guilty of voter fraud more so than the Republican side. All right, that's my perspective. And I think it's probably shared here. But we're none of us are Democratic for many reasons. But it is encouraging then by that on that assumption, the election did not get stolen, which was a real possibility. It was one of your four, Chris, was that it would be a completely stolen election. And so,
Again.
right.
Yeah.
So that's good, right? It's
But we've been, elections have been stolen
right.
across the planet for a long,
Yeah.
long,
Right.
Yeah.
long time.
It's civilized
And
barbarism.
it's done. You're finished. We'll get voting integrity put on the blockchain. There's only 21 million Bitcoin. We know who voted. We know who voted.
Yeah, there's
It's
a
up in
way
the
we
public
can solve
domain.
this.
Get the voting
there is.
integrity. Get the
So that's
voting
encouraging.
integrity done, out of the way, and it's coming. Imagination,
Mhm.
desire, benevolent intentionality, stay in power. Voting integrity on the blockchain from here on out. You will never see the malevolent corrupt get back in like they've been in. They're finished. They're toast.
I haven't seen any
Done.
scuttlebutt about the left accusing the right of voter scamming, right? Or of
It all needs to go. And listen, this is not a red blue conversation anymore. Big Love showed up, and everybody's left and right in your heart. We justify our character and what we are and what we aren't. And when just a little bit, we could tolerate just a little bit of corruption. Really? Okay, you're marked. We're all marked.
How much lead do you want in your drinking
We're
water?
energetic.
None.
Right.
Let me
And
just-
let's go back to what you're saying, Eric,
Yeah.
about the anti-Messiah thing. You know, we talk about Yahweh giving the nations kings, right? He gives
Right.
presidents. He doesn't give it to us. If you're in the right framework and you're in the right government and the right house, he didn't give it to us. He didn't give us Trump. He gave America, he gave the US nation
Correct.
Trump.
Yep.
We have a king that's never going to be replaced. Never
Yep.
voted in, never voted out.
Mm.
That's who our governor is. That's who our captain is.
Mm.
Yeshua is the lead. He's the head. Never will change.
Big bro, big brother.
And
All hail King
that's where we need to stand from all the time. We rejoice as ambassadors of a nation. See, this is I think helpful if for a kind of a framework to live in and natural to anchor to is the idea we're ambassadors to the government, to the US nation, but we're of another nation. We're of a superior nation of our Father's house. And we have to live in that place. That's, I think, the safety net so that we can involve ourselves in what's going on below the sun in these nations and these governments, wherever he's assigned us to. We can involve without getting drawn into it and forgetting who we are, exiles in Babylon. No, we're of the house of Yahweh. So regardless of whether we got Kamala or we got Trump, we are not of them. You know, we have a different king. So president come, president go. Our president, our head is always Christ. And from that place, that vantage point, we can always succeed. And we can always be the healer. We can always be the ambassador of our Father's heart,
Yeah.
regardless of what's going on below. And so we rejoice when we see righteousness, you know, like in the 80s when we saw nations go democratic, whether it was CIA, you know, fueled or not, we see people group rising up to choose their own freedom. You know, we could rejoice in that. As a nation, the US rejoiced. We supported people. We got behind them to say, go after this. Be free from the tyranny, right? That was the positivity of what we were exporting, you might say, as a nation, is choose freedom. We rejoice. We're going to help. Well, we could do that as sons of our Father's house under that government. We could come into a nation and rejoice when someone chooses liberty, when someone chooses freedom, when someone chooses truth and love. We can get behind them. We can support them. We can financially bless them. We can do a lot of things as ambassadors from our Father's government to nation governments, you know, earth nations and those sorts of systems without bleeding into and forgetting and getting caught up in the red, blue, right, left argument.
Yeah.
That so many of our brothers and sisters get into and just forgetting themselves, right? And I think that's something that always, even with this election, you know, I'm thinking, I'm happy this man got in. I'm happy with the potential future.
Yep.
Right. But that doesn't mean anything eternal, other than that souls get healed and redeemed and returned back into the Father's heart.
Yeah.
That provides that opportunity, and so be it. But that's kind of the stance I kind of sit back into for my own emotional fortitude and mental ascension into the right attitude for the times and seasons.
Yeah. I believe that the liberty of choice won. I do believe that. I believe that from what I can see, all of the left's potential solutions for things was to limit choice. All right. And I don't care if those are good choices. That has a long game of tyranny, and it will inevitably go the wrong way.
But it's due to the fact of who they serve. So let's keep leveling it up. It's character. If you lie, cheat, and steal and justify how you get to do that, you're freaking corrupt and malevolent.
Yeah, whose house
It's not. It's over. I don't think we get this. I mean, it's just. We just gotta. I mean, this is gonna be fascinating how this is gonna really play out. I mean, this is an energetic shift, and we've got this is what. And again, how much time we got? We got. Let me share this with you real quick. Came out. It's just a chapter I read, but I'm gonna read a page page, and then we just keep on this track. It's called The Illusion of Matter. Okay, so this is a cell biologist. This book is 20 years old. Okay, we are assuming we understand that our environment, epigenetically, that genetic determinism, you're not born with an unhappy gene. So I'm going to let you know the unhappy genes comes from epigenetically your environment. We have just stepped into a new environment. But here's a cell biologist that's saying the illusion of matter. Once I finally grappled with quantum physics, I realized that when we so cavalierly dismissed energy-based practices, we were acting as myopically as the chairman of the physics department at Harvard University, who, as described in The Dancing Wu Li Masters by Gary Zukav, warned students in 1893. I'll say it again, 1893. What year are we in? 2024. But in 1893, that there was no need for new physics, as it was all solved in 1893. So all the science, all the brainiacs, oh, we got it figured out. Okay, well, let's find out about that. There's no need for new PhDs in physics. He boasted that science had established that the universe is a matter machine. Matter, like it makes matter, right? The universe is a matter machine made up of physical individual atoms that fully obey the laws of Newtonian mechanics. Oh, Newtonian mechanics, interesting. For physicists, the only work left was to refine its measurements. And this was in 1893. Guess what we figured out? 3 short years later, the notion that the atom was the smallest particle in the universe fell by the wayside with the discovery that the atom is itself made up of even smaller subatomic elements. Okay, like the 50 trillion cells in our body and 100 billion neurons, something like that. Of these subatomic particles was the revelations that the atoms that are in you and me, emit various strange energies. Ooh, we're emitting strange energies, are we? I wonder if there's strange energies taking place. Energies on the Earth within the last couple of days. What do you think? Kind of like X-rays and radioactivity. Listen, at the turn of the 20th century, a new breed of physicists evolved whose mission was to what? Listen, to probe the relationship between energy and the structure of matter. Ding, 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 ding.
Matters.
Okay, so we're energetic beings. Yahweh, big love is spirit. He's energetic. Okay, so maybe that there's more energy than physical matter. Let's talk. Within another 10 years, physicists abandoned their belief in Newtonian, and we're almost done. Abandoning the material universe because they had come to realize that the concept of matter is an illusion. Did anybody teach us in grade school that, hey, the desk that you're sitting on, it's not really real, but we're going to teach you some stuff? For they now recognize that everything in the universe is made out of energy. Quantum physicists discovered that physical atoms, listen to this, we are whole atoms. We are made up of vortices of energy. Listen to what's happening, what we are, that are constantly spinning and vibrating. Geez, hey, have you guys been spinning and vibrating the last couple of freaking days? I know I have. Each atom, listen, each atom is a wobbly spinning top. Guys, stop spinning. Keep going, spin. You mean I can spin like a top in my imagination? Yeah, because you're really spinning. You mean I could pretend to be a galaxy and spin? Spin, bro. Just do it. Wait a minute. Hold on. There's more. Because each atom has its own specific energy signature, the wobble, assemblies of atoms, molecules collectively, they collectively do what? They radiate their own identifying energy patterns. I see 4 energy patterns right here. We're all emitting our own unique energy signature, right? The planet is emitting its own unique energy signature. This new wave, they're emitting their own unique energy signature. The left is emitting their own unique energy signature, choosing, like brother says, choosing which way you're going to go. Are you going to spin up or are you going to spin down? Hold on. If it were theoretically possible to observe the composition of an actual atom with a microscope, what would we see? Listen to this. Imagine a swirling dust devil cutting across the desert floor. Do you have it in your imagination? Because that's what we are. Now remove the sand and the dirt from the funnel cloud. Okay, do you got that? All right, you're spinning. Take all the schmuggenhug out of your deal. Okay, what do you have left? This is what we are. What you have left is an invisible tornado-like vortex. That's what you are, Brother Paul. You are a mofo, invisible tornado-like vortex. And here's how I know this. Called a number of infinitesimally small dust devil-like energy vortices called quarks and photons. Photons, quarks, photons of light. Collectively make up the structure of the atom. From far away, the atom would likely appear as a blurry sphere. As its structure came nearer to focus, the atom would become less clear and less distinct. As the surface of the atom drew near, it would disappear. You would see nothing. In fact, as you focus through the entire structure of the atom, all you would observe is a physical void. The atom has no physical structure. This is science. I don't think my brain's caught up with this revelation yet, but it's getting there. The emperor has no clothes. The freaking atom is naked. Remember the atomic models you studied in school? The ones with marbles and ball bearings going around the solar system? Let's put that picture beside the physical structure of the atom discovered by quantum physicists. And it looks like it's rain. Like, think about like in the Matrix. This energy stuff. This is who we are. This is what's happening on the earth. This is what happened yesterday. This is what took place energetically. No, there has not been a printing mistake. Atoms are made out of invisible energy, not tangible matter. So in our world, material substance, matter, appears out of thin air. Kind of weird when you think about it. Here you are holding this physical book in your hands, yet if you were to focus on the book's material substance with an atomic microscope, you would see that you are holding nothing.
It's crazy.
As it turns out, we undergraduate biology majors were right about one thing. The quantum universe is mind-bending. Let's look more closely at the now you see it, now you don't nature of quantum physics. Matter can simultaneously be defined. This is who we are, guys. This is exactly who we are as sons. Matter can be simultaneously defined. Brother Paul, you're a solid particle and as an immaterial force. You're a wave. You're both a particle. You're also a wave of potential possibility of the choices that you're going to make in your future in the energetic system that just came on the scene. When scientists study the physical properties of atoms, such as mass and weight, they look and act like physical matter. However, when the same atoms are described in terms of voltage potentials, winding down, and wavelengths, they exhibit the qualities and properties of energy waves. The fact that energy and matter are one. Energy and matter are one, and the same is precisely what Einstein recognized when he concluded E equals mc squared. Simply stated, this equation reveals that energy, matter, multiplied by the speed of light squared. Einstein revealed we do not live in a universe with discrete physical objects separated by dead space. The universe is one indivisible dynamic whole in which energy and matter are so deeply entangled, it is impossible to consider them as independent elements. So all I'm saying is in the physical, if we can focus our energy, something shifted. I don't know what that looks like in our own families and our own lives. Not looking to have a go at anybody that if your team didn't win, we love you. We love you. I get family that are on the other side. I love you. You know, not looking to have a go. We're on the same thing, on the same team. You know? Oh, okay. Are we off?
No,
We still
we're
on?
off. Yeah, we're still
We're
on.
on.
Yep.
So yeah. So it's all good. I just, just embrace the energy, man. And just lean into just, loving big love, figure it out,
That's right.
practice loving big, man. And that's just, but I'm going to start to shift because we're so looking at this physical deal. And this is just a little small portion of what's happening in the unseen energetic realms. And
Yeah, there's a lot
that's,
going
huh?
on. It's a big deal.
Yeah.
I could feel it.
So,
Nicole could too.
oh, 3 minutes ago. Cool. Yeah, that was just, I read that this morning. I was like, oh man, that's good. I gotta share that. I'm just like, man.
Hey, shalom, y'all. I'll be back. I
Yeah.
believe, but I gotta run.
Who's shutting us down? We can go to the green
Uh,
room.
I
Is,
believe, I believe, I believe Jeff is still the
so we
host.
gotta wait on Broman to come
Yeah,
back?
is he coming? Is he coming back?
He must be, but he's
We're not live. We're off now, right? We're in the green
No,
room?
we're
we're
live.
live.
We're still live. Yep,
We're
we're
still
live.
live.
Oh yeah, we're still live.
Okay.
We're live as all can be.
Yeah, and I can't take host.
I know. So we
So
may
for
have
some reason,
to leave and then come back.
Yeah.
but
You know how it is.
yeah,
Shut the door, open the door.
I gotta get this test started. So
All right, enjoy.
All right, bro. Go get it. Love you, man. So good, bro.
Yeah.
And that's why I'm just staying in the energy of thankfulness. I'm just thankful, man. It's like we come up and just get a breath of fresh air. Coming into Thanksgiving, looking forward to seeing my family, my kids. Every dad's coming down from up north. And yeah, it's just a lot to be thankful for, man.
Yeah.
So what do you do with that energy? Keep humble, you know.
Yep. Yep. Yeah.
Mm. Yeah.
Well, folks, it is 9. And the key to turning this off is not returned. So we may just have to leave and then come back.
Okay. All right.
All
Sounds
right.
good. All right. Love you all soon. Stay in the way. Stay in the path.
Yeah.
Until next time.
Mm-hmm.
Yo. All right. Well, since we should do I should do. Yeah.